Coming to you live from the Pensado Theater at the all-new SAE Los Angeles campus, Pensado's Place is brought to you by Vintage King, the Blackbird Academy, Audio Technica, Aftermaster, Isotope, Studio 202 DC, Avid, and The Recording Connection.
This week we get the engineer's perspective on working with a multimedia superstar. We're announcing the fourth co-host of the Pensado Awards. It's just days away. Ooh, a lot of excitement in this camp. Dave circles back on an ITL, really deep dive. You're going to enjoy that one. We are chock-a-block full. You're at the place. It's Pensado's Place. Hey everybody, it's great to see you back for our weekly sojourn down Audio Land. Thank you for your likes and subscribes. It's always appreciated. Our partners, you know them. They are Vintage King, the Blackbird Academy, Audio Technica, Aftermaster, Isotope, Studio 202 DC, Avid, Recording Connection. Incredible folks, all partners who help bring this show to you for free, and they do that and sustain for a long time. Where are we at? We are right at the Pensado Awards. We're within weeks. If you go to pensadooawards.com, you will see the countdown. Dave and I are nervous. The whole team is working hard. We're really excited. Completely thrilled to announce Justin Meldell Johnson as the fourth co-host, along with CLA, along with Sylvia Massey, along with Young Guru. Give me your sense of Justin, how much we like him and why.
Man, Justin's a musician.
Exactly.
A musician.
Yeah, he's even that.
His website's amazing. I first discovered him because he's got a blog on bass and how to record bass, and it's really, really good. But great cat. Just embodies everything that's good about our profession on every level.
Absolutely. Brilliant. An artiste, to say the least. A great guy. We're thrilled about what he brings to us. So thanks to Justin and his camp for coming through. And he's doing this with an extraordinarily tight schedule because he cares about you guys.
Out with that.
Absolutely. So we're set. We're locked and loaded with hosts. The event feels good to us. We got some special moments. Remember, 7 o'clock, Culver City, August 30th. Be there. You'll have your own reception in the Aftermaster Theater. You can party, put on an Oculus, have a drink, put on a sub pack, get a song Aftermaster, get interviewed, take selfie photos, all that kind of stuff. You're in the theater partying, you'll then hear these chimes. When they go off, you can get around the corner, head to Cali Park, and outdoors, time for the big show. We'll have a good time at the big show. After that, into the lair you go for partying. Mixmaster Mike, Young Guru, on the ones and twos, doing their thing. Yes, booty's bumping, mascara melting. That just means dance till you sweat. Dave and I are going to be there. We're going to be partying. We're going to be enjoying it with you. It's going to be a great time. Make sure, ladies, I'm getting lots of emails, which I love, from you guys, and texts and things saying, I got my new outfit, I'm prepared, I'm getting my hair done. We work out, Chongra and I work out with a couple that's coming, and every time we see her, she's like, I got my new outfit. So class up the joint, bring the heat. Let's show them just how hot and great our audio ladies are. Men, get your swagger on, rock star up, leather it, suited, booted, shorts, I don't give a, whatever you do, bring them up. We're going to celebrate you, your accomplishments, your talents, and our sponsors are making it possible for us to do that. You excited about all this?
I know what's going to happen. Of course I am.
You know what you do.
Last year we had some just amazing moments, and this year, Mr. Genius over here, you've got even more amazing moments. I can't wait. You know which one I'm talking about. I just can't wait to see.
There's a couple. So guys, go to pensadooawards.com. The nominations are there. You see the nominations for Unique Project Studio and also for the AIR Award. Thank you so much for your submissions. We are completely locked and loaded. You can see that at pensadooawards.com. Wrapping it up, it's Sunday, August 30th, Culver City, California, Sony Movie Studios, 4 locations, 2 especially for you. Partying afterwards, celebrating the best in audio, which is you guys, and we're going to pull together our community and just let our hair down for a good time. Please be there. We look forward to seeing you.
Please.
Another cool thing, one of our buddies, who's going to be a presenter actually, Joe Parisi's doing something cool. What's he doing?
Yeah, he does one of my favorite workshops coming right up August 15th through the 24th, excuse me, and you can check on it at the prosoundworkshop.com website. Okay.
So by the time you see this, there'll be a couple days gone by, but you want to get attached to that. Joe does really good work. Yeah. We really enjoy him. So I hear you got a little bit tricky with your ITL this time.
Yeah, I tried to do it in a minute.
What'd you do?
I tried to mix a vocal in a minute.
Oh, did you do it?
I didn't carry a watch. We'll see.
And then is our boy in this part as well?
Yeah, Gaura's in it, and we take another look at some of the music from India, which I'm just fascinated with her.
Cool.
Amazing stuff.
Watch it. Check it out.
Hey guys, part 2. You saw part 1 last week. With my friend G. G, thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Sorry I didn't change clothes this time, but I thought the shirt was kind of flattering.
Why change something that's working?
That's true. That's true. In case you guys didn't catch part 1, this particular episode is going to be completely self-contained. I'd prefer you go back, listen to part 1, and then come to part 2, but you don't have to. G's a very talented man. He's got Beat Factory School. He writes code. He's got a plugin coming out. What's the plugin called?
It's called the Slam Dog.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. And he's a producer, an engineer, an artist. Sold millions of records. And I wanted to kind of go a little deeper into some of the unique things about the music that he grew up with in India. It fascinates me. I think it fascinates you guys. I hope it does. Sometimes when you listen to something new or something different than what you're accustomed to, give it a chance. Let it sink in. Look for the things you like first. Don't worry about the things you don't like. That's not the way you listen to music. Always look for the things you like first. And there's plenty to like in this music. My first exposure to music from India would be through some of the Bollywood stuff. Their version of Hollywood, or your version of Hollywood, probably puts out more product than America does. It's huge.
It's a big industry, and it's definitely thriving. And now, especially, it's at its peak, where so much content is made every year. Mm-hmm. And so naturally, the audio part of it is also grown.
Yeah.
And so are the number of jobs and number of producers, education, and awareness.
Yeah. The music that I hear is really great. When you and I first met, I had an impression of music from India, and of course I was wrong. But it seems like it's not the same music we heard 20 years ago. It's
changed
very
a lot.
little difference between the music coming out of Bollywood and what Americans do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as culture seeps in, I think the root which stays the same is pretty much the melodies in India, because people in India are used to listening to the Indian scales and Indian melodies. That's something that's very close to them. But when it comes to ornamentation and arrangements and productions, India has always borrowed from the West.
Oh, okay.
And more so now. Yeah.
You brought me a vocal. Who am I listening to?
This is a guy called Salman. And
how do you tune that?
You tell me.
Because you use a 12-tone scale.
Yes.
But you're a little looser with the notes in between. Like you don't try to go from a C to a D.
We hang in there somewhere.
You take the liberty to slide from a C into a D, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So that'd be difficult to tune.
It definitely is difficult to tune, especially when it comes to more folkish kind of vocals and more classical vocals, where there is a freedom. And most of the singers who sing this are not tuned or accustomed to singing to, perfectly tuned tracks or to, stuff which is completely in line. So they take the liberty of, moving the pitch somewhere in between. But as engineers and producers, when you're really mixing and finalizing a track, it's very difficult to find those notes and to put them in order, because you don't want to tamper too much with the movement because it sounds artificial. But of course, with a lot of time spent and some great plugins and technology.
Yeah. But also too, I'm sure Just like here, there's some singers that require less from the technical side, and others a little more.
Yeah.
How do you make a vocal like this fit into a track?
What we do is, of course, start dividing it into sections and find the chorus sections first. I try to work with them. And to tune it up, the first process, of course, is to make sure that it's sounding good. We use a program, Waves Tune, and sometimes we use Melodyne, as opposed to maybe auto-tune, because it's easier probably to just fix the notes which are not working. But it's very tedious. It's like, and especially the ones that slide around, you can tamper it better with Waves Tune.
I don't think I've ever EQ'd a vocal from India. You want to see what I can do in 1 minute?
Well, we're with Dave Pensado. You want to see some of the magic?
Well, give me 60 seconds over there.
That took an hour of convincing. You seeing that in 5 minutes, but it took an hour of convincing.
There's a lot of pressure because I am the world's slowest vocal guy. Let me see what I got.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਆਏ ਨਾਲੇ ਹੱਸਦਾ ਏ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਤੱਕਦਾ ਏ ਫੁੱਲਾਂ ਜਈ ਜਿੰਦੜੀ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ
We already got a lot up there. Let's don't do too much up there. Normally I wouldn't add this much 4K, but I think I'm hearing it here.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ
Let's see here. Let's try something gentle. Let's try
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ
You know what, before we do anything else, let's try this. Yeah, I've got this chain here. I'm gonna go into it. Let's see if we can save a little time.
ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਤੱਕਦਾ ਏ ਨਾਲੇ ਹੱਸਦਾ ਏ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਤੱਕਦਾ ਏ ਫੁੱਲਾਂ ਜਈ ਜਿੰਦੜੀ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਡੇ
I just covered myself up here. Let's see. So I'm gonna go through this really fast. I got a de-esser, got a little saturation going, got compressor, a little bit of plate reverb. Let's make it a little more because I think we're gonna like that. A delay. What's the host tempo on this? Do you know?
Oh, no, not on this.
Okay.
It was on the folder. I'll have to check it in.
Okay, no problem. We'll just go with what we got.
Yeah, it's 140.
ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਤੱਕਦਾ ਏ ਤੱਕਦਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ
Okay. Now let's check something real quick. Let's do an energy check. So
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ
Okay. Um, this is bothering me. So let's give him a little energy here. Now I have no clue what he's saying. I think what I'm going to do is this, and let's.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ
Okay, let's make him come in strong, like he's just running for the microphone.
ਇੱਕ 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 ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ
Okay, so now the energy drops off here, so let's taper it down all the way to the end of the phrase. So what I'm trying to do is get him to kind of this guy, I like the way he did this, so let's just bring this up. Okay, so we got
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ
okay, I don't like the way he's coming in here, so let's just dial it back just a tiny bit.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ
Okay, now I think he would have sung it this way. So I'm gonna
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ
Okay, I like that. So we got our energy good. Let's give him some effects. Let's give him a little John Lennon here. You want? Okay.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਤੱਕਦਾ ਏ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਤੱਕਦਾ.
Okay, so we got a little bit of a pseudo double. This is a doubler that I came up with. I think you've seen me use this before. I'm just going to widen him out a little bit so he sounds important. I'm exaggerating just so you can hear it.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਤੱਕਦਾ ਏ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ.
Okay. Now I want to give him a little bit of reverb, so I'm going to use my Bricasti. I know I'm cheating, but hey, I'm doing this fast.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਤੱਕਦਾ ਏ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ.
I like that. That made me laugh. But you know what? You know what might be cool? Let's hold up on that. We might try to give him a little bit of a spring sound.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਤੱਕਦਾ ਏ.
Oh, I like that. So let's try that with this. Okay, let's see where we stand. So we got. So we got this. Got our energy right.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ 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 ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ.
Okay, I'm missing something here. Let's try. I'm just going to do something fast. I'm going to add a little bit of I don't know what it really is, but somewhere in the 1K 2K range.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ.
There's a million ways you could do this. You could do this with just about anything. I like this plugin.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ.
So So without hearing it in the track, I think that's pretty cool.
ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚੰਨ ਵੱਲੇ 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 ਇੱਕ ਤਾਰਾ ਜਿਹਾ
I can do better, but
Oh, it sounds great.
I tell you what, that was recorded really, really well, so that wasn't too hard. The thing that I liked the most was the thing that people forget the most often, and that's how to don't alter the way the singer sings, but just try to amplify the energy. Think of it almost like a tabla, like a piece of percussion, and you want his entrance to be strong and confident. You want the notes to grab you and then melt away, and you want each phrase and each word to work with the next. If this word gets too loud, then it makes this word feel weak, and if this word feels weak, then this word feels too loud. So you've got to make sure that the flow is and the energy is right. Now this vocal is compressed pretty well, so we're just doing very gentle. So we're using a very, very musical approach to the compression. And what I'm doing here is there was a little bit in this frequency that was bothering me, so without this. So what you notice, don't listen to the sound, listen to the energy change. This is less energy. A lot of energy in those consonants. When you see you can see the consonants, they just have a lot more energy. And so you want to make sure that energy is coming out. And then this was just a little icing on the cake. It would be great without it. And you can do this with other things. It doesn't have to be the clariphonic. It just allows me to do things a little quicker. But don't be afraid to parallel into like say a Waves JJP plug-in with all the vocals, or parallel into a guitar plug-in and see what that sounds like on a vocal, or parallel. It doesn't have to be one send, one effect. It can be, try different things. I did a song yesterday and I paralleled into max bass. Not bragging or anything, but there's a preset with my name on it. Take the original signal all the way out and parallel into that, and it gives you a nice round bottom. So parallel into everything.
Oh, that's a great tip. I think we forget about parallel in that we can actually use the plugins and processing we already have. And I think the way Dave explained in detail of how to actually take every phonetic and look at it with energy level, also look at what's coming after it. I think we need to think like that. Unless we think like that, we sometimes over-process and lose the original focus of the vocalist and what they were trying to deliver.
Oh, absolutely. I think we have so many wonderful tools nowadays, and we get kind of in a micro thought process where we start worrying about individual types of tools like analog or digital, or individual brands, or individual engineers who said that he always uses this and that, and develop your own sound, your own signature with your own tools. The tools are good enough nowadays where it's pretty clear to me that if you can't make a great record now, it's not the tools, it's you.
I think very well said. I have to say that.
Okay, guys. Hey, listen. Gaurav, what a pleasure meeting you. I've learned so much.
Likewise, it's an honor.
Tell me what you think. Those of us that aren't familiar with Indian music, where should we start? Give me like a 30-second roadmap. Should we listen to...
I think it's okay to listen to some of the Bollywood music because it'll give you, it'll be a nice transition I mean, because the arrangements are Western and the music is Indian. And then you can look a little more into the folk music, because a lot of the origins of pop music today in India is also.
Yeah, I mean, I have such a vast knowledge of Indian music. That's a Punjabi vocals.
Absolutely.
He told me that already. Hey guys, I had a blast hanging out with G, and I learned something. There's so much more out in the world than what we sometimes think we know, and you can learn from everything. See you next time.
This week we get the engineer's perspective. Richard Furch, who you probably met last week, has a whole set of things he does separate from Tyrese. So we thought we'd have a conversation with him and take a look at that. We welcome to our desk Richard Furch. I'm not sure where to start, because we sort of started at sushi, and then we also share one of your most major clients, the incredible Tyrese Gibson.
Yes.
Just an amazing guy. It is our pleasure to welcome to the desk Richard Furch. Richard,
thank you.
how are you, brother?
Finally.
Long
nice
time.
To see you, Dave.
Hey, man.
For whatever it's worth, a little bit of history. At one point in time, I had, a couple pieces of salmon, and you were sitting beside me, and I was scribbling on a napkin, and you were going, "What are you talking about?" And what were you talking about?
Well, we were talking about what you've been following all along this time. First idea, like what can we do? Longtime manager for the mighty Dave Pensado can call all his friends forever and ever and ever and ever.
And I don't even think I was manager at the time, but was just trying to come up with ideas. I like coming up over sushi. But Richard was there at the inception. So listen, man, congratulations. You guys are sitting on incredible stuff. The relationship you've had with Tyrese and other artists. Your whole career is not just that. But I've watched you guys over the course of 13 years go through all kinds of permutations to get to this point. And what I'm really impressed with is that as an independent guy, resources or not, some of the people understand the fights can still be the same.
Yeah.
And you guys have turned this into #1 records and other things in an idiom that's not getting a lot of attention, R&B music. Is that fair? What do you say to that?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, he always went for authenticity. Yes, it is R&B, and it has a very specific fan base, and we all know there's difficulties in getting R&B to the top of the charts, or any charts for that matter. But he was always signed up for this is my music. I'm not gonna be a Chris Brown tomorrow just because I can sing. And this is, of course, nothing against Chris Brown. That's his lane. But Tyrese is very, very founded in his own lane. He knows exactly what his fans want, what his musical heart is breathing.
Right.
And that is what he puts on his sleeve every single time. Every single time, every 3 to 4 years, we go into a body of work. This is now, I think, the 4th or 5th album I've done with him, like I said, over 13 years. And he has this idea. He calls himself the vision implementer. He has this idea. I already see this product in my hand. I know what it is. It will change in the course of it. We will have many outside pressures, but at the end he will stay true to himself and release the music that he's proud of, the music that he believes is part of what Tyrese is about.
Yeah.
He's not trying to please you.
Right.
He's trying to give you what he's really about every single time.
Somebody once said to me that the greatest artists really want to satisfy themselves first, and by that, because their standard is so high, by then you satisfy an audience. So for all the warmness and stuff that happens with R&B, what mic does he like to sing on? Is there one specific one, or?
Well, he at one point bought the C800, which is a very popular mic in that genre. And I think actually that sound first came from like the Babyface connection, kind of like in 2000. You had like the C800 with, I believe, an Avalon preamp at the time. We changed it up by song. The mic stays the same, but I might change the preamp or the compressor depending on A, how much time do I have? And B, did somebody tell me what the song is about?
Right.
No, but you know what I mean. Like we try to look for a specific thing. So for instance, on the new single, it would be a C800 through an Avalon, very straight, a little EQ. On the last single that he did, last lead single for the Open Invitation album, which was 2011, same mic, but it would have been at the time a Chandler LTD-1 and in 1176 at that time. And actually, which gave it a part of the sound, the tube was at the end for that particular album. And it actually gave out on us. On the very, very last song, there was like, you can hear it on the album. There's like this little thing where in the middle of an interlude, it went like, and we're like, that's the sound.
I love
right
that.
there.
That was my favorite record. No,
and it was something that you couldn't create otherwise. And he's like, that's kind of cool. Leave it in. And then we changed it to.
When you did you record Jennifer Hudson's vocals?
Not on this particular song. No, she did most of the pads in there, and that there's a shouting part, but I was not there that particular day.
It
would have been the same chain though, because she came to his house to do this.
When we were talking about this earlier, when you have two vocalists in the same song, it really doubles the amount of time and effort it takes to do a mix. Some of you guys that just record your own vocals, you might not know this, but you'll run across this soon. So how do you try to make them both sound alike, or you try to give them both their own space? When me, I try to just make the flow increase. So I try to make the first vocalist, if it's usually the star, you know, and the name of the album is named that person. So I give him a lot of juice, but I try to increase the energy a little bit for the second one, and then keep leapfrogging. How do you approach that?
That's an excellent question, because this happens to me all the time.
Yeah, because you did a Boyz II Men record with
Boyz II Men. There you have
like 8 million people in the group.
Exactly.
Now, I think.
Then you did TGT album with 3 guys, so you don't even have the advantage of saying, well, one's a girl, so it will naturally blend in a different way. But let's go for, like, for instance, a girl and a guy for a moment. I try to find the essence of the vocal to start with, and that might be. It's almost like mixing the song as a solo song. Once with one singer, once with the other. I'm not gonna put the whole detail into the vocal, but I'm saying the sound, the person that was supposed to be on this song sounds a specific way. In the case of Tyrese, I know it exactly how he sounds. He's very big voice, very low heft to it. I can't thin it out. I can't make it nice. It's just a very specific presence that I know exactly about his voice. If you have somebody else who you might not have worked with before, you now say, well, what is it about this voice? Can I make that happen? But now when they marry, I try to trick him, like in a way. It's a good start. For instance, you have one person singing the verse, and they get to shine in all their glory the way they would have sang the song by itself, but then at one point the reveal happens. The reveal of, oh, we're actually 2 here, unless there's maybe some ad-libs at the top. And line by line, I go in and just try to mold them together, like make one line. For instance, if you have a guy and a girl together, the girl most of the time will have a brighter, more present voice. The guy will have a more lower voice. So you can, both with EQ and rights, kind of make them one sound, even though they are together. One sound as a function, both lead vocals, but as a more pleasing example of audio, kind of there. I use panning a lot. Like, for instance, a vocal might start in the beginning, but once the second vocalist comes in, they might go like 20% out on both sides. Just stage them a little bit. I mean, not so much that you feel that they now stepped out of the center, but just like you give them a little space apart from each other.
Different.
I once did a song that had about 10 or 15 singers, I think, and if they had never hired me, I panned them off to the left, and the people that hired me, I put them in the middle. You remember that? A lot of people were unhappy. Remember her? I thought it was a great way to approach the process.
Send the legal papers to Cliff Miller. We'll tell
and by the way,
that
that song sold 1.2 million copies in 10
well,
days.
Bonnier had a great idea, which he said, like on the Boyz II Men song, first revision, he gets his very emoji-laden emails to me. It's like, okay, what's this? I mean, that's part of our job, trying to explain. There is truth in this email. It doesn't matter how I perceive it, I need to solve it. And he says, coming out of the first chorus, when Sean takes over, for instance, you need to make it sound like I walked off stage. And so, like, it would be something where his last line, vocal line comes up, and then the pan would be automated to the left and a tiny reverb throw, just short of like a door closing. But I thought it was excellent. I thought it was
cool.
I would have not come up with that.
Did you do it?
I did it, and he loved it.
Did Sean love it? That's the question.
No comment.
Okay,
It
cool.
is on the record like that.
Oh, is
So
it? Okay,
there you go.
we'll leave it alone.
I don't know. I thought it was a very creative memory.
We'll leave it alone.
Let me ask you this. Tyrese is known for a genre, R&B. We've known each other a while, and I've heard your work in several different genres. When you're working for an artist like Tyrese that has a specific genre, what do you do different than from, say, a pop song? Or do you not do that much different around the vocal that we're discussing?
I would say technically speaking, I approach it the same. Like, I have an idea of what I believe a good vocal to be, for instance.
I'm talking about the whole mix.
Yeah, the whole vocal. Okay, I see. Well, let's put it like this: most of the time, regardless of what we have genre-wise, the productions come in a way where the intention is already there.
Right.
The intention, everybody has this access to these amazing sounds.
Yep.
You don't have to buy a Rhodes.
That's true.
You'll get whatever the plugin in a good way. So what comes to me is already so close on the intention of the genre that I start there. But if you say, I think we mentioned earlier the retro approach maybe that we were talking about. The biggest difference I see there, you have a pop production that is fully realized by its programming, fully in your face. We know where we want to be. We want to be the Katy Perrys of the world. We want to make this musical event happen in an audio way. And then you go to another, like this retro feel where everything might be tracked live. Like might be almost like if you go, it might be live like a jazz record. Like might have actual players there, and you get this. It's not so much dirtiness because you can obviously record it clean, etc. But there's just this space around every instrument already that will define that genre already when it's done well, of course.
Absolutely.
And then there's the hybrids of the two, where you like the Amy Winehouses, where you say, I want to remind people of this really old song, but it can't sound old.
Right.
It will still sound like a 2010 at the time record with sample augmentation, etc. So the approach comes from faders up. What is there? How close to the intention have they already come? And then try to find my little like, okay, well, if it is an R&B throwback record, will there be a slap on the guitar? Will there be something? Can I reamp it so it sounds like it came from a Vibrolux or from a Fender, or should it be something totally different, like an invented sound, like in a pop record?
Can you do retro without using analog gear?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you can. That was a trick question.
But here's the other thing.
I think you can do it better without analog gear.
Yeah. I'm still hybrid though.
Well, also too, genre and those sorts of things aren't a function of the equipment; they're a function of the performers.
Yep.
Like you said, I thought
absolutely.
you had an excellent answer with the production leads you to the genre. So if we got an R&B track and they come in and they say they want it to be a rock song, I've had that happen, by the way. I'm like, great, let's start over.
Question
go ahead.
for you. So, in Tyrese's case, and maybe with others, Tyrese, you track as well, correct? Sorta?
Sorta, as in I do all the vocals.
Right.
And I do all the post-production. But the tracks are mostly done like in this fashion is currently done, mostly computers, some live stuff.
Right.
The current single is all live.
So to the extent that you have programs, you have files and so forth, but you're doing the vocals, is there an advantage to you when you do that and you're tracking whatever component, whatever proportion you're tracking? does that inform your mixing at that point in time because you were there for that, or does it not matter? When you get mixed files, you can just...
It makes it harder.
Does it? You're too close to it?
It's not... I thought that's what it was. But I think it's because I've been through every decision that in the room that the person said, like whatever, somebody plays something and somebody in the back says, I hated that. But then it stayed in the record because nobody else heard it, but I heard it.
Right.
Now I'm already knowing somebody in the room hated this. Plus, I've gotten. I mean, this.
So you're just conflicted when you're mixing.
It's a little harder, and the funny part is you might get your own rough mix, as you get. No, guy, no, more
true.
like this. Like, yeah, I did that one too. Thank you. You know? So it's different.
I think this is making you crazy. I think we should get him out of that, because if he's starting to talk to himself because he's mixing, he's tracking.
It's just information.
Sure.
Well, a little bit.
And it's all about choices. You guys just all have to make choices, correct?
Well, yeah, a little bit inside stuff. The hardest thing for us to do, and this is very inside, bear with me, is when you're 99% done with the mix and you do an overdub, that's the hardest thing in the world to place in the mix.
Is it really?
Oh gosh.
Especially when it's only one.
Yeah.
At least give me two.
Because the mix is set?
Well,
and then you have
I'm
to sort
putting
of
it too low and put it too loud because the process is such that, to use a food analogy, if you just decide to dump some jalapenos in right at the very end and some spaghetti sauce, it's really hard, isn't it, Richard?
Yeah, and it's to me, I tell people, like, if you have to change the record for some reason, can you please give me 2 elements? Because at least I can balance my panning. I don't have to rip down the whole plan of my...
That makes sense.
Edifice of it.
We're whining, I guess.
I know. And
of
course you can always.
But these are things that folks would never know. The other thing I remember during our sushi days, before the guy escaped, he didn't pay rent, and just one day we went and the door was barred. Yeah. You had coined the phrase e-mixes, or you were using that as part of your marketing tool. Was that, define what that was?
Emixing.com was started about 2006. It was one of the first online mixing remote services. Of course, at the top level, you always had that. You had the ISDN, you had the Ethernet stuff. That's fine. But at the time, I was saying, well, I'm working out of these studios, but I also need to address the crowd that can't afford it. So I started emixing.com. Currently, of course, that's not as special anymore. Everybody stays at home and waits for their emails at this point. Right. But it was a very good start to really realize what music is out there, what they might need from you. You can't just ignore them.
I thought it was fascinating that you're just thinking about the future. And at the time, 5 years ago, I was like, okay, I need to pay attention to this. Do you get pigeonholed when you have success in a genre? Do people start to say, let me go to that guy, and I don't go to rock guys don't come or indie guys don't come, and you become the R&B guy because of Tyrese's success?
Well, it's between Tyrese and Prince. Those are the biggest R&B records.
No,
it is. But these two, of course, the
just Prince. Did you do that?
It was
just
Prince.
Sorry. No, I'm thinking, no, you get to.
We did, but it was the same situation. We tracked and recorded a double album. This was in 2010. I like to use this word. The success chooses you. You make a record, and from that you will get 10 other records. And if there's just 2 of those that are successful, well, they hopefully spawn 10 other ones.
Right.
In the meantime, have I mixed about 200 songs every year? Of course, but some of them you will never hear.
Right.
I have a very big Asian presence for some, which is actually. It's funny to me. It's like when I talk to an Asian person, let's say a Chinese or a Korean, they know my work.
That's crazy.
If I walk into in our office here with that particular piece of work,
right?
Okay, and that's fine. I understand that, you know. So yes, the R&B is at the forefront. There's a lot of where we're just talking about the retro, the Leela Jameses, the Chems, the Chrisette Michelles, which you also did some of it.
I love her.
But at the same time, I do a lot of other work, pop, rock, etc. They're just not the names yet.
Right.
Hopefully they will be next year.
Yeah, I remember that's how I knew you. I knew you as somebody who did more of the rock stuff and kind of.
I knew him. I was blessed when Richard first came to Los Angeles. He didn't quite. His career hadn't quite started, and he was as good as anybody out here. But just people need to know it. So I was getting his rough mixes that weren't so rough, and it was a bitch to beat him. And I'm not sure I did all the time, but yeah, he can do anything. Shout out to our buddy Carl Tatz.
It's true, yeah.
He did some stuff at Richard's room and.
Oh, cool.
And, not so much focusing on Carl, but a lot of you guys will take an 8-foot by 8-foot bedroom with a 6-foot ceiling and sheetrock walls and no carpet and go buy a $20,000 set of monitors and wonder why they don't sound good. You recently had the experience of having the same room go through so many metamorphoses. Nobody knows the difference that different types of things can make in terms of treatment to a set of monitors. Take me through like a 30-second version of that so that the guys at home can understand. No treatment, you're going to be at the mercy of, just might as well buy some $5 monitors or use headphones. A little bit of treatment, you can make it go, but don't expect to have your $30,000 focals sound like focals. And then you spent a significant amount of money, and now you've got a perfect environment. How did your monitoring change during those time periods?
Well, I mean, you start like everybody starts. You go like, I just got to buy the biggest, the most expensive thing. Hey, I did the right thing. I got the Avo set, which is great. I got the Barefoots, which are great. Finally, I got the focals, which are great. But then you start realizing that the missing link between all of them is not the make of the speakers, because they're all pretty good at this point. There's really, really great speakers. The M Audio, the first ones that they came out with.
Oh, amazing.
The one that were Avid branded, I believe. I thought they were impressive. But that's the point is, and at one point you figure out that it has to match your room, and that has nothing to do with is it a 6-inch driver or an 8-inch driver. I hear that all the time. I think that matters not at all.
Right.
It's almost the opposite. Buy yourself 10 pair of speakers, go to our friends at Vintage King, because they will loan them to you, and figure out which one works in this room the best. And I went through high-priced, fantastic speakers, and I was just like, this one doesn't work in this room.
Was there a speaker that when you didn't have all the treatment in your new rebuild that sounded bad at that time now sounds good to you?
They all sound better, of course. When you put in the effort, you improve them. Do they sound as intended? You will never know, because you will never heard them in a good room. This is the old trick about the NS10s. You buy them and you kind of disappointed. Well, because you didn't put them on a 3-ton SSL in a nice studio where they actually sound good.
Right.
You know?
Right,
So
right.
there's nothing wrong with that. I think the point is to understand the experimentation is part of your solution. And this is why, like, just asking somebody what's the good speaker won't
Also,
work out
too,
for
for
you.
me, early in my career, I tried to find everything to blame for my lack of abilities except my effort at getting those abilities. And the most disappointing day in my life was when I walked into an Alan Meyerson studio when he wasn't here and realized that he didn't do anything different than me. He was just 100 times better than me. That was a sad day. It really challenged me to get better, because when I met you, I wasn't that good. I mean, I was good, but I wasn't that good.
Well,
and
that wasn't the reaction to everybody when you went to work.
I had good taste. I was faking it with just taste, because
That's a good place to fake it with. I mean,
So let's speak about taste for a second.
Yeah.
When you're mixing, and when Dave's mixing, do you have to sort of shut down and veto kind of your internal taste things because of the artist and producer's perspective? Or do you bring your taste to it and determine what to do with that?
it's really weird. It's almost like, I've described this many times to friends of mine. When I start mixing a song, or when I'm in the middle of it, for that day, I can't help myself, but that song becomes my favorite song in the world. Like, this is obviously not true. Some of them are better and some of them are worse, and I listen to specific music for my own enjoyment. But there is this switch that goes on and goes like, this is fantastic. Everything about this is fantastic. I'm trying to improve it at the best of my abilities that day and at the best of my remembrance of other styles of genre-specific input. But that's how I approach it every single time. Like my taste of this particular song, where taste in this particular song doesn't matter at the beginning because I already believe this is the best song ever.
Right.
But then while I'm doing it, it informs it, of course, you know, because I say I like bright vocals. I do. I have a problem with dark vocals. I don't know why.
But that's an example of your taste.
Yeah, this would be always something that will be in there.
Right.
It will be changed by revision or by me saying, well, obviously it just doesn't work. I don't know why, but that doesn't work.
DP, you ready to fire up your arm? All right, Richard.
I don't know that I've ever been this ready.
It's the German version. Let's fire up batter's box, and here we go. Shoot, fire away.
Bass.
Real bass or synth?
Hey, man.
Hey, okay.
You just got to answer, buddy.
Real bass 2044.
Ooh, he's good, Herb.
Well, that was
I knew he's
but
good.
you threw a strike.
I tried.
You did? No, you threw a strike. He got you on the second
I'm going
pitch.
to start insulting him in a minute.
Oh, do it.
Snare.
Metric Halo channel strip. Distresser. UAD.
Don't get cocky. Strings.
S1.
Okay, synthesizers.
Also S1, but also a hardware 33609.
I know. Balls are starting to fly out of the canoe.
808s.
Fader and Autotune.
We're going to come back to that, remind me, because that's deep. Plugins.
Everywhere.
Hi-hats.
Layers.
He's good, Herb.
Yeah.
If your studio caught on fire, what piece of gear, audio gear, would you rescue first? He sat up straight, Herb.
You did.
That hurts. I mean, just the thought hurts.
Did you beat him? I think.
I got him.
Hard drives.
Okay. All right.
Okay, this is tricky. And there is a right answer.
Okay.
R&B.
Right on.
Not as compressed.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Okay. Last but certainly not least, something we enjoy every mix, kick drums.
Chandler, LTD1.
You want to just assess yourself?
Oh, no, I lost. But when he said...
Go to 808 and...
Yeah, when he said the 808, that was genius because it's already bass, and if you want more bass with something that's bass, you just turn the fader up.
Well, yeah, most of the time I find just 808s, and this is that's totally fine. I just find it like this. It's especially when you have 808s that do a bass line. The levels are very uneven. Very often, that's why I write the faders. I also find very, very often that they're out of tune with the song, and sometimes that's cool. If you have just a drop, that's cool. We'll leave that alone.
Right.
But if it, for instance, doubles a bass, or if it is an actual bass line, I auto-tune graphic mode every note. It has to be in. It should be. It should be in the key of the song.
It's always one note that's like way loud, isn't it?
It's always one, and then or the other one, where you have like 4 notes, 80 hertz, 70 hertz, 30 hertz, coming back to 70, and so now you have a bass line which basically drops a note every 4 beats.
Right.
And we're like, there's nothing you can do except for asking nicely, can you program me an octave so I have something, or Decapitator, R-Bass, your tricks. But basically, I think to start with, something like that would be program your 808s on a small speaker and don't try to engineer them. Just program them, does it work? We'll kick it over the finish line with our work, but give me a chance. You're not going to go to a 20 hertz 808 and not.
By the way, you don't get extra credit. You already
Oh man, I want extra credit.
So before we let you go, one of the most important things is go in your calendar, and on Sunday, August 30th, you're going to be where?
At Pensado's Awards
Very
and the Sony
good.
Lads.
I didn't assume. I just wanted to ask.
No, I was there last year. It
That's
was
right,
excellent.
you were.
It was excellent. It's one of the nights of networking.
Yeah, it's
very
a great
good
night
night.
for that one.
And I mean, apart from the fun, geez. So you put on the fun, we'll do the network.
Okay, all right, you'll network, I will collapse. God, Richard, we spent so much time together living we were in Encino, California at the time, and it's fun to watch your peers' growth. You've watched us grow, we've watched you grow, and here we are all today, and we had a chance to have your client on.
We shared a client for a number of years, and we made it through, didn't we?
We did. Yeah. Shout out to,
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man, thank you.
Thank you, Herb.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure.
Dave, take us home, man.
Oh, man, it's always fun for me. I hope it was fun for you to sit with a cat I know really well, and thanks to Damon Elliott, we spent a lot of time on the same songs and a lot of time in the same studio, and his wife is very talented also. So go find yourself a friend like I got, and we'll see you next week.